Hello, everybody. This is Howard Cosell. Pleasure. Welcome back. Hey, what's up, everyone? Matthew Sims here with Big Phil, the Big Effer.
What'd you do this morning?
I don't.
Well, no, I'm just saying that because of
the
opening there.
You don't need to know my routine, but it works. It's working.
Yeah.
All right. For now, at least.
Stay with that.
Yeah. That's
okay.
right.
It's working. All right. What's going on? Tell me.
All right. So quarterback breakdown.
Okay.
Here we go. CJ Stroud, Ohio State.
Yeah.
All right. What are your first initial thoughts about CJ Stroud? What do you like about him?
Oh, well, let's see. 85 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. I'm not a stat guy either, and I just said that.
That's not too bad, though. It's not too shabby.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Can you do that when nobody's out there? Can you complete passes like that? But, I think as I watched him, everybody just goes, I hate this one, too. Well, Ohio State receivers, they're just wide open all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Then you don't watch a lot of football if you say those things, because when I watch it, he made a lot of contested throws.
Right.
Strong arm. He's got good size. He moves around. But we're worried about his mobility, Matt, right? And you know what I say to that? He moves to throw.
Right.
And then we saw, of course, in the Georgia game, in the playoffs, we saw him run a lot more. And that caught everybody by surprise. Because guys didn't get open, maybe, whatever, but he saw the opportunity, took advantage of it. So there's nothing really I'm going to sit here and complain about when I talk about CJ Stroud.
Yeah, very little to complain about. 6'3", 214 pounds, 10-inch hands, so he's got big hands. He's played in 27 total games in his career, 25 starts, And 130 pass attempts in his college career. So he's gotten a ton of reps. Both him and Bryce have just gotten
No. You said 130.
830
yeah, there you go.
Pass attempts, thank you for catching that in their college career. Him and Bryce, just a ton of reps throwing the football down the field aggressively. So just really impressive. His career, his success, his completion percentage, unbelievable. 71% as a junior, as a redshirt freshman. And then 66% as a redshirt sophomore this past year. So, dude can put the football in play.
Well, when we watch some of the plays, we'll see it.
Yeah.
Compact motion, which that means quick release. One of my favorite saying. Well, he has a quick release. Okay. All right. We'll get into that later.
Don't beat up Steve Cohen in the background too much on that one. All right. Jeez, unbelievable.
But he has a really flexible arm. And what does that mean? When he pulls it back and he goes to throw it, his arm can really fold back and forward like a catapult almost. And I actually heard, I think Daniel Jeremiah say that when he was watching him at the NFL Combine. And it was a great analogy because it makes sense. But the other thing, grab that football if you don't mind real quick.
Yep.
You mentioned he has 10-inch hands.
Right.
And it used to be, I think, in the NFL, hand size was a big deal. But they measure what? From thumb to little finger.
Right.
How about measuring?
Also known as a pinky. But
the pinky. Well, I said little finger. But why not from the wrist to the length of your hand?
Right.
Your fingers. Because Aaron Rodgers, just for one, many quarterbacks I see, they got huge hands, but they don't measure that big because it's not wide.
Right.
But it's really long. They wrap it. But it's not as big a deal now as it used to be. And why is that? You know why. Tell me why.
Just the way that you can grip the football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've
Your
seen
ability
these.
to grip the football the way that is most comfortable for you to throw the ball aggressively. Kyler Murray, great example.
Well,
show us how Kyler grips the football.
Well, first off, this is the way most guys used to do it. Probably when I played, hand in the middle of the ball, grip it as big as you could.
Yep.
And Kyler Murray, I can't even duplicate it. He puts his thumb on the end of the football, and his fingers are way down here. It's so unique, but
the ball's actually slightly tilted in his hand rather than being vertical. Yeah.
And he's gripping the football, the small part instead of the big part.
Right.
And we see more and more this grip change, or guys gripping it differently and smaller with these younger quarterbacks.
Yeah, definitely. And that's actually how I held the football.
You did the same thing.
I held the football, the smaller end of the ball more. I felt like I had more control. I could spin it more. I could throw it better, moving in awkward positions. And I think it is just going to be something that's a little bit more common in today's game going forward.
Well, what can you manipulate more, a baseball or a basketball?
Yeah, right.
I mean that's a huge analogy,
but
that's kind of what it is.
Yeah,
when you get something that's smaller in your hand, you can do all the throws and make it look much easier by changing your arm angles if you grip the football really slow.
Yeah, definitely. And so go ahead.
Well, nothing. I think, when I look at CJ Stroud, as time goes on, we start to pick him apart a little.
Okay.
He became that guy.
Right.
But, you know, he has great anticipation. You can see he knows what's going on. And I will fight back against this in a couple things. His mobility, which I think is NFL above average without question.
Right.
And he threw a lot of footballs into really tight coverage. And to do that and only throw 12 interceptions in your career.
Yeah.
It means you're what? Really accurate. And
Yes.
you can put it in the tight spots, which he does.
I totally agree with that. And his arm flexibility, one thing that we have discussed outside of this was we would like to see him do a little bit more, you know, dropping his arm angle, creating more arm angles for himself as a thrower,
Right.
And that's something that we see Bryce do extremely well.
Right.
It's something that we would like to see CJ do more. He is capable of doing it. He shows the ability to do it. Just doesn't maybe rely on it as heavily as a Bryce does. But it is tremendous, his ability to throw the football accurate. He throws the football on the run extremely well.
Right.
And he definitely pushes the football down the field better than Bryce does. That's an advantage he has over Bryce.
And I think once you go to the NFL, which you know and I know, you get better at all these things. You learn to
Right.
do more because it's your only job.
Right.
And you learn to change arm angles because you're going to realize if you can't change arm angles right now in the NFL,
Yeah.
I think you're in trouble.
You're in
trouble.
trouble.
You just can't be Mr. Robot. You got to have it all now. And
Yeah.
which we've said in the last episode that, you know, Patrick Mahomes changed the world.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Yeah.
And I was making some of those throws back in the day in Jets camp, and they're like, "Stop doing that." I'm like, "But it's working, all right." So I don't know what you're talking about. But,
Really? They would tell you not to do it.
Sometimes, yes, they would try to say, you know, don't be too, like creative that way. But a little bit more of an old school thought process, and I'm glad to see too that some of these guys are just so talented that it's just impossible to stop.
Right.
And I think CJ hasn't really hit his stride yet as far as his ability to do some of those other things that we know he's capable of doing.
Yeah, I want to see him loosen up and do more and be more, abrasive, or not abrasive, but what's the word for it? Tougher, not tougher, but just let it go even more on the offensive side.
Just more confidence of just letting it rip.
That's what I want to see, and I think he has that. And I think, like we talked about, he doesn't lose control of the football, which is another big deal.
Very rarely.
You know, Bryce Young, we didn't show. We showed all the film of him. We didn't show it, but as I watched it, I saw a few, not a few, but a few.
The ball
every
does
game.
Get away from him.
Gets away from him,
Yeah.
but you don't see that with CJ Stroud.
No.
So,
all right, well, let's get to the
Let's do
tape.
it.
Let's watch a few. Let's watch a few clips. And here's the game that, of course, everyone in the evaluation process is talking about against Georgia, where he really did take his game, you know, to another level, and probably because he was forced to because of Georgia's defensive line.
Yeah.
But here we go. Play action, set up. And these are the type of NFL football throws that really do separate him, right, from others as far as his ability to set up, change direction, step and turn and throw back across his body like this.
Good feet.
Really good feet.
Yep.
As we slow it down here, right, we're going to see him hit that back step. But I love how he has a quick reset, gets that right foot right underneath himself, right?
Wow.
So that spine and head are just in the inside part of this back foot, right? And all that pressure is being built up right now into that right ball of his foot, right? And right from there, just like a boxer, he steps, he turns. As soon as he steps with his left foot, he's accelerating through the throw. And, man, great follow through. And we love this too, right? Driving off the back foot with his hip and back foot going to the point where it comes off the ground when you're trying to throw it that hard.
Well, he's wound up like a golfer, and he lets it go. Run it back real quick. I just want to show this. Right, go ahead.
You
let
want
it go.
Slow? You want it slow?
Well, stop it right there for a second.
Yeah.
First off, this tells you respect. I watched every Ohio State game this year on TV on Saturday.
Right.
I never really saw him do play actions and moving this way. Now,
Not
they could have, and I don't remember.
Not a ton.
Because this is respect. He's throwing across the field. But as he throws the ball, let it go a little more, and I'll show you when he stops. Keep going. And stop right there. This is how you get a high release. You know, love that. Got to have a high release. Right?
Yeah.
I hear that saying or that.
Like get on top of the football.
Yeah, but this is what he's doing. Because he caught up and did all that, you see he's on his left leg. Look how high his right shoulder. Well, that means the ball is going to be a little higher too.
Yeah.
And you can always tell when you do this right because your hip is higher, your back foot's going to come off the ground.
And this is something that the younger generation of QB coaches in my world, right, and just QBs in general, we got a little obsessed with the Aaron Rodgers, fall back, stay back on the back foot, flicking it a little bit more. Now, the problem is when you teach young QBs that, they're not Aaron Rodgers. They don't have arms that go down to your calves. They don't have huge hands like you mentioned. And, it's the thing that he learned through millions and millions of reps of throws.
Right.
Where, to teach a kid, at, some of the kids that I teach that are 14, 15 years old, it's ridiculous to teach them that kind of stuff because they don't know how to create true power.
Well,
and here we see CJ creating power as a thrower in a more traditional sense, the way that you should as a thrower.
And I'll just to talk about your point, when you get to the NFL, what Aaron Rodgers does, stays on his back foot a lot and uses his upper body to make the throws, it's self-protection too.
For sure.
Now you can absorb hits, and you do it because you don't want to move into a big hit or whatever. So
no doubt. And really, if we're going down that rabbit hole, right, Aaron Rodgers and the Super Bowl run that he had, that was really technically the best he was ever as far as throwing the football with his motion, with his technique and following through it, right, as opposed to what we kind of see now.
All right, well, let's go.
Getting back to CJ, here we go. This is one of those plays where, everyone is looking for these plays out of CJ, and this is a great display of it.
Nothing open.
So essentially just in cuts with outlets underneath on both sides, high-low reads to both sides of the field. He maybe could have thrown this in cut here to Marvin Harrison Jr. here over the middle, but he wasn't looking at it at the time. He was looking towards the field at that moment.
Well, we have two in cuts coming towards each other, which, maybe that's why he didn't do it. But it's a good decision.
Yeah, it's in cut and under on the outside. So it's a basic level concept, right? But the good thing is that I love, right?
This is
calm
great.
in the pocket. He knows that he's protected well. Really good feel. Finally creates space for himself. And then his ability to just throw an absolute dime on the run, 35 yards out, 37 really.
Wow.
5 yards into the end. Just unbelievable accuracy on the run like that.
That was just pure power. He didn't have time to even get in a good position and still got it done.
Yeah.
So that tells you talent. Great hand, can manipulate the ball just with his hand to create power, and that's what he did here.
For sure.
Or he did that last play. And what we got here?
All right, so here we go. Again, Georgia.
Ooh.
D-tackle wins very quickly. He's looking over here into the boundary. Everything's pretty well covered, but I love the reaction here. The little shimmy, change of direction.
Keep two hands on the ball.
Yeah, we would like a little more, but hey, at the same time, we teach two hands on the football until you do this.
Yeah.
Right?
And then,
until you make plays like this.
Wow.
But this is really the arm flexibility that you're talking about right here.
Great shot.
This is where we see, technically, he's in a very tough position to throw the ball aggressively down the field. Just like how we discussed with Bryce, he steps on his right foot, and he's already started the process of turning back. Now he loads up on that right foot, and he's going to follow through, and he can't really get his body all the way through it or rotate completely around it. Why? Because there's a defender that's about to pancake him.
Yeah, that's right.
But he does a great job of using his arm flexibility and arm strength to just throw this out there and throw an absolute dime low into the sideline, which I really love.
To next year's first receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good play. Just kind of shows you again off schedule. Again, everybody keeps talking about. There were a lot of these when you watched him during the year.
Yeah.
We just didn't micromanage it or look at it in a certain way to realize that.
Right. And for all the young QBs that are watching this, right, watch how long he is, right? See how his hand is all the way out in front of him?
Yeah.
He's being that patient with following through the throw. And you have to be that patient, especially, too, on these type of throws when you are compromised angly, right? Angly? Right? That was a Chris Simsism right there,
my
right?
God,
oh, my
yeah.
gosh, right? Florio would be so upset with me about that. But with his angle, he does a great job of at least following through with his arm as patiently as he possibly can to get through this.
Yep, stood tall.
And that's how he's able to generate enough power to get into the end zone.
Great play. What else we got here? Let's see.
All right, so here we go. We go back a little bit now to just the movement ability of him, right? So eyes in the back of his head.
It's a blitz. He knows it. He felt it.
Should be protected, but for whatever reason, he does know, right, that he's compromised. Great job of stepping vertically, right, out of the pocket. So steps up, right? You see that right leg. It's pointing right towards the end zone, the opposite end zone, right? That next step is up towards that end zone again, right? Create depth and separation from the line of scrimmage to get around the defender, and now he tight turns. What I love about it, though, too, look how quickly his eyes and head got back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he's looking down.
He got right back into being dangerous as a passer. He sees the lane and takes off and runs.
Maybe the best defensive player in the draft was chasing him, so that would make me run fast.
That would make a lot of people run fast.
Jalen Carter, so.
But yeah, CJ, not known for his ability to be a great runner, but he does do it in a sense of more of a traditional quarterback, right? Where he makes like average plays, at least good, acceptable plays for us to move forward and kind of keep on schedule as far as an offense
Well,
goes.
as we say, he moves the throw most of the time. You
Right.
force him to run, which is a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
If you force them to run, they will.
Right.
It's like, Patrick Mahomes. He's moving to throw, but if he has to, he'll take off and run.
Yeah. So here we see it again, too. Just good pocket presence again, right? The subtle moves that we talk about, right, for these quarterbacks. Great job sliding up in the pocket. He's ready to rip. He doesn't like what he sees, pulls the football back down, right? Good job, though. Again, we would like, if we were a quarterback coach here, right, in his QB room, just protect the football with two hands a little bit more, especially in traffic.
The NFL, they're going to be what? Hands are everywhere. They live to slap it out of your hands, especially D linemen, yes.
But a really good job, right, of just making a play, again, with his feet and running aggressively
Matt,
down
but
the
if he
field.
ran a 40, he didn't do that. I would say, I'm going to guess at least in the 4.6s, which is plenty fast and good enough.
Yeah, the fact that a 4.6 is now considered somewhat slow by quarterbacks means it means that it's great for the position because more athletes are playing the position, and it is exciting. Here's the play from the back end. And you can see how everyone's pretty well covered. You could say you could throw a 50-50 ball down the sideline here on this, but covered pretty well down the field, stays composed. Good job feeling right the open void in the offensive line. Takes off and runs, and you see he's got some speed to him. Very underrated, but very good, very good. Can definitely get it done at a high level in the NFL by doing that. All right, so here we go. One of my favorite clips in the game, right? Drops back, right? Slides really smooth. This is what we're talking about again, right? Earlier, right? Shoulders, hips, and feet match each other. As he clears the defender, he sees the open lane. He steps, he turns, and he drives through and around the throw. And you see again, too, just how much he's following through the throw with his entire body.
Yeah, on
back,
the move.
hip, and foot especially.
Yeah, on the move, which is really impressive.
But really good follow through, and he's just such a clean thrower that
The thing about CJ that I think the wow factor, the special plays that excite people, you don't see. Everything he does is kind of routine, like just mechanical. Let's get it done the way you want it, and the way the NFL is a lot like. But the fact that we saw with Bryce, just the first guy we worked with or watched, more movement, getting out of trouble, making all those throws. You don't see as many with CJ because he got it done by reading, throwing, and making good decisions.
It always seems to be the case with players when they make it look easy, it gets discredited a little bit.
Yeah,
so he is one of those guys that he makes it look easy a lot, and that's why everyone's like, well, it's Ohio State, it's this, it's that. Dude's a really good football player, and usually when you make it look easy, that means that you're really good.
Well, hold on there.
What?
So why don't I hear that? Oh, well, everybody runs wide open with the, Buckeyes, Ohio State. But has anybody heard them say that about Alabama? I heard it with Mac Jones. Oh, well, they're all these guys, which is an unbelievable crew. But when we talk about Bryce, I'm not knocking him at all. But I don't know if I heard anybody say, well, the offense is great and the receivers and this, and I know they didn't have great receivers this year, but still.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, it becomes, for him, but not for somebody else. But go ahead. So.
Yeah, and that's a good debate, too, because even when a guy like Baker Mayfield was coming out, he's a good football player, no doubt, but no one really ever said that he threw 40% of his passes at the line of scrimmage. Right, he was throwing a lot of screens. He was throwing a lot of quick hitters. Right, a lot of simple concepts. He wasn't throwing the ball aggressively down the field like you see CJ. So, we can't really take into account so much either what they are working with their current schools, their offenses, their scheme, their personnel around them, which changes. So, it's really more so we got to look at them from the lens of, does he fit all of the things that we want our quarterback to do and to eventually mold into with our offense, and not so much like just the hype that's
Well, let me just say this.
Yeah.
I'm drafting the quarterback. I'm not drafting the team. I'm not drafting the coach. It's the quarterback. And quit looking at all of it and, you know what, oh, well, he's a winner. He won these games. Well, Ohio State and Alabama, they're going to be winners every year.
Right.
It just kind of comes to my mind. I think they're going to get it done.
Yeah.
And, and numbers lie. Okay? They lie all the time. And you got to be careful how you judge the numbers too.
Right.
And not that makes me any different. What does make me different? I've thrown out a few statistics. I very, very seldom ever look at stats. I watch the game and judge the person from the game.
Yeah, I hear you.
Does it make me?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's just different. I do.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Got that off my chest.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you.
You need to.
Yes. This is this is how you reset. He's looks down the middle, he goes, and resets and gets his whole body into the throw. Once again, watch, when you got your body into the throw, when your right leg comes up, out, and in the air. Man.
Same thought again, right? As we discussed with the Bryce tape.
Look at the turn.
He's a little forward, a little bit farther forward, right, than like you would probably want to be for creating power down the field. Does a really great job of turning back, right? So you see his upper body loading up into that back foot. But this is where you see the separation between him and Bryce. He doesn't need to be in a perfect position, right, to throw the ball aggressively down the field. And you see right here, he might be a little bit forward as far as his posture, but he does a great job turning back and creating a tremendous amount of power.
Yeah, and that was to a number one receiver in the NFL, but that's okay. It was a really good throw. He was pretty well covered, but the throw was over the outside shoulder and a power throw and accurate too.
Really good light feet, though, as he's moving here. This is the Rose Bowl versus Utah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Little play action here, looking right, drifts. Throws back across the field to his left. But just good job of staying calm in the pocket, drifting slightly, right, because he feels this pressure right here by this D tackle over here to his right. But really calm, relaxed, feet under him. And I love, too, that he just goes with the throw a little bit, right? So as he's falling a little bit to his left here, you see his momentum kind of go with him as he follows through. And this is why he's able to throw it pretty aggressively again.
Yeah, really good.
And it doesn't even look like he's trying to throw it that hard.
Really good. Off-schedule play, not perfect all around him, still makes the play, which we see a lot of this.
But really well designed.
It's really interesting.
Well executed.
I feel like CJ Stroud, as I just watch TV and read, information that you almost feel like maybe the Houston Texans are not even going to take him. I don't know. I get that feeling sometimes just with the undercurrent, what I read and hear.
Yeah, it does seem to be like it's softening for whatever reason.
And once again, maybe the best defensive player in the draft. Watch that, Jalen Carter.
Yeah, that's a good look right there for a quarterback, right? To have that defensive tackle bearing down on you.
But 320 pounds, can really run, very nimble. Oh, my gosh.
But this is a great lesson for young QBs, right? And something that I wish I did better when I played. You have a little bit more time than you think. You don't have to panic or rush here in this situation. He does a great job of letting the defensive tackle think, yes, come on, right? Sack, lunch, all day. Just work right back to me. Take the cheese. As he gets closer, sudden movement to his right. And this is really just unbelievable arm angle and flexibility again. Super awkward, but man, look at the spin on this throw. I mean, compromised position, puts the right left into the ground and just rips it to the sideline.
What's that remind you of? It's almost like playing baseball. Shortstop, second baseman.
Very much.
Dropping, turning, throwing. Yeah,
and we always make that comparison with Patrick Mahomes, and he does a great job of doing that.
Yeah,
so this is where he does have some of those clips to throw like that.
Great play design.
Yeah, very good play design right here.
Safety split.
And I love
this is a wide receiver in the backfield, I think. I'm not sure. Number 10, I forgot. I don't care.
But yeah, basically just a mirrored concept to both sides, right? You have a corners, outs, right? And then the running back going, or running back playing the receiver or whatever, down the seam, right? Both safeties go deep and wide to the sidelines, and then you have your receiver at the running back position, one-on-one versus a middle linebacker, and he throws an absolute dime up the field. I love, though, too, about this throw. Doesn't try to throw it exactly perfect. Just make sure to complete the pass. He puts it on him more here.
He threw it exactly where he wanted it, and I'll just say this. That was a great design by the coaches.
That was good.
Really good. Caught the Georgia defense and something I'm sure they thought was going to be exactly that. And you're right. The mirror concepts on each side. The guy down the middle, wide open, great play.
Yeah, they knew what the coverage was going to be. Really good job of executing it and putting it on the target, because those are always tough throws too. More than we would like to admit to. When somebody's wide open, it is usually pretty difficult.
Choke factor is definitely there.
It's real.
Only way to get out of the choke factor, throw it hard.
So this is a real NFL type of clip here too.
Man.
Basically, just have like a 3-level vertical here. And what a 3-level vertical is, right, for the young QBs at home and young football players, you have a deep route that is trying to occupy the deep part of the field over the top. You have a deep cross that is working towards the second layer. So there's the top layer, the second layer. And then the running back will be your third level, right? So there's 3 levels to the play. And the quarterback is looking at it from that exact angle. Top, down through the read. Does a great job, right, of seeing that the post is double covered. Deep cross comes wide open, and he probably was still could have thrown the check down for a completion if he had to too. But the power.
As I watch him throw, and you can see this is what I call getting your ass in the throw. I mean, that's what he. You know what? As I watched all this tape of him and through the times, I think we're condensing it and putting these good plays together. I'm just going, wow. He gets in such great position and uses his body. You know why this is all important? Because his arm is not going to tire.
Yeah.
So he can practice and throw as much as you want, which is a big deal.
Absolutely. It's an important part.
I mean, look at this position. His elbow is so flexible. And again,
but you see there, it's in that perfect 90-degree arm angle, and that flexibility is real. And I really think that he has more to the tank, right? Like he can. Oh yeah. I think he can learn to throw it even more powerfully and aggressively and dynamically, which is crazy to think because it is already off the charts good. But I really think that he can be even more dynamic as he continues to learn and develop.
Yeah, I think he will. It was great, really good. I'm having a little more admiration for him as I'm watching these highlights here than I probably did when I studied him. Just because this film is so much better than sitting on my little computer trying to read everything.
You're the only guy in the world at your level that watches film on, a Nintendo screen. Right? It's
the
crazy.
Only guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
you are.
Okay.
I'm slightly disappointed in you in this field, but it's okay. We'll get there.
I'm getting there.
You see the possibilities.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So yeah, CJ Stroud. I mean, if you're a general manager, where do you rank him as far as the quarterbacks go?
I'm going to put him, Bryce at 1A, and really he is, it's 1B.
1A, 1B.
It really is.
So it's that, okay.
It comes down to so much, and there's many traits we look at it, but these general managers and all that, they got more information, who they are as people, teammates. They know more than I do, but it's really close.
Let's say this. If you're the Texans,
I'm taking him.
You are.
I'm taking him. I think he's a really, really safe pick. Nothing about him. Now, I saw something come out lately. Oh, he's hard to coach. Well, I never heard that.
Okay.
And everything. But there's really nothing to worry about.
You think day one starter, though?
I think he is, yes.
Day one starter, okay.
I think he's a day. Right. He played at Ohio State. They teach their quarterbacks, I think, very well. And I hear this, too. Well, Ohio State quarterback. And I go, I'm not going to, the history of the quarterback there, I'm not going to hold that against him.
Yeah, right.
I'm judging him. And I think he's a big-time NFL quarterback.
Right. All right.
All right.
Yeah, great film. CJ Stroud, absolute baller. I'm right there with you. It is like 1A, 1B, and it's really kind of just beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It depends on just what you value more. But CJ Stroud, I think, is a very, very, very good football player, and I think he's going to have a very good NFL career.
We saw he anticipates. He looks defenders off, and I think the other thing I said he doesn't lose control of it, and I think he can be really, really good under center, play action fakes, and get rid of the football. What you see, it doesn't take a lot for his body and everything to get ready to, to throw the football down the field with power.
Yeah, definitely. So CJ Stroud, absolute baller. That was awesome, big guy as always, and we're going to come back with the next show on Will Levis. Talk about Will Levis, Kentucky quarterback,
Oh,
pros
boy.
and cons for him.
Yeah.
He kind of gets that reaction from people in the evaluation process, but should be a good debate. So we'll be back with Will Levis.